Hey everyone, it's Carrita on Instagram called Carrita the Brand Consultant, and here on Facebook, Carrita Elise Cloud. I thank you guys so much for joining in today. Today we're going to spend just about 30 minutes talking about how you can brand your story to attract your ideal audience. A lot of times we see across the board, just with many of my clients, that they've had issues in the past with crafting their brand story and how they're supposed to attract their particular brand's audience. So let's just go ahead and dive right into everything. Thanks for joining. Make sure that you share. This is going to be a great topic, guys. So, obviously we all know, and if we don't know, we're going to learn in this short segment. So storytelling is the key. It's one of the most essential marketing tools that you can use right now. It's essential for brands that are looking to ground their business. And I'm sorry if I do look down, I'm looking at my notes, guys. But it's essential for brands that are looking to ground their business strategy with messaging that's memorable, emotionally engaging, and that will turn a profit. That's what all of us are trying to do, right? We get frustrated with, I have this product, I have this service, I don't know how to get to my clients. They're not engaging with me. I've tried this tactic. I tried that tactic. I've tried the Facebook ads. I've tried, the selfies. We tried everything and it doesn't seem to work. So let's dive into how we can make this work for your particular brand. So the most successful brands, of course, like we know, guys, like your Apples and your Ubers, the most successful brands do this by balancing emotion with just the right amount of information. A great story is easy to understand. It simplifies big ideas and it sticks to people's minds. If you guys have been following me on this women entrepreneur group for a while, you will notice that a lot of the posts that I've been posting get a lot of traction and a lot of engagement because I'm telling my story. I'm having people relate to my story. This is how I can actually create effective marketing for my company. And so if you look and search my name, you'll find, posts where I talk about my journey, posts where I talk about my struggle, posts where I talk about what I've actually gone through in business. And like I said, it gets a lot of traction, but it gets a lot of traction because it's relatable and people feel like, you know what, wow, she's just like me, or I went through a similar journey, so I can relate to her. And then what ends up happening as a result is you get clients that are your target audience. That's who you're trying to look and who you're trying to attract. But they also want to engage with you because people don't like to just work with brands. They like to work with the person beyond the brand. And so if you begin to relate with them and show them who you are, be authentic about who you are, then they will want to work and with you, buy your product, buy your service, engage with your company. So let's dig more into this. How can we, create this brand story that's going to attract our target audiences? Well, the first thing is we need to gain extreme clarity in our vision. Like, how many of us have actually created a vision for our company? How many of us have actually sat down and said, this is the vision for my company, this is the mission, this is the elevator pitch, these are my 2-year goals, my 5-year goals, my 10-year goals? How many of us have actually done strategic planning within our businesses so that we can define out these different processes? For a lot of us, not many of us have actually done it. What we do is we come up with a great product or a great service and then we push it out there. But we push it out there with nothing behind it, nothing to foundate it. So that's the first problem there. So how do we gain extreme clarity in our vision? Listen, I've been doing branding for about 10, 11 years now. And what I see with business owners, they push out, like I said, this marketing content without a clear story wrapped around it, right? You're not telling people who you are and why you're doing this. And so without a story foundation, your brand messaging risks being inconsistent, right? It looks like you're all over the place. If we look at your Instagram, your posts are all over the place. If we look at your Pinterest, if we look at your Facebook account, nothing seems to be cohesive. There's no brand cohesiveness anywhere throughout your profiles. It's confusing, and sometimes it even gets contradictory. We're trying to figure out, what are you actually doing? So the first step to creating a story is to just get very clear on the vision and think of your brand as a legacy. What do you want to leave behind? Okay. So whether you're a sock or a tech company or a powerful brand story, you need to instill a sense of a bigger purpose that is beyond your product and service that's being offered. So for example, Apple, Tesla, Facebook, they become some of the most admired and financially successful companies in the world by delivering financial returns while also building people and society. When mapping out a brand vision, outline what you want to accomplish with your brand. Don't be afraid to dream. Do what you want to change. How do you want to be perceived? Do you want to change how the beauty industry is perceived? Do you want to empower millennial women to work and travel full time? Do you want to help entrepreneurs build a six-figure business? Define what it is that you want to do. The vision should be distilled in a singular sentence, which can be broken down into three parts. So let's break down this sentence really quick. So the first part is action. What's the best action word to describe your brand, right? Are you an empowering brand? Are you a teaching brand? Are you a coaching brand? What is it? What's that action word for your particular brand? And let's define that. Like, we're going to take this and we're going to define it out. So let's define what that action word is for your particular brand. The next thing that we need to do is to decide who we actually want to influence as far as your target audience. Who do you actually want to influence? Right? Who's going to benefit from your brand? So let's define who you want to be, who you want to influence. For example, seasoned business owners. Do you want to totally zero in on that audience? Seasoned business owners, let's say misunderstood geniuses, right? Fearless visionaries, innovative corporate executives. Who is it that you're trying to influence? And let's try to capture the essence of this audience within a few words. Don't make a long drawn out statement. You need to be able to define and zero in on who you're targeting within a couple of words. And then the value, right? So what is the transformation that's being created for the target audience through your action? In simpler words, what value do people get from your brand, right? So my best friend, she has a business where she sells patio and porch, furniture and crafts, things of that nature, right? So if we take her as an example and say, okay, what value do people get from that, right? How do we create that brand story around that? Well, let's start here. Create a story. We're here, we're stuck in the house due to Corona. Because we're stuck in the house due to Corona, we're noticing a lot of things in our house that we haven't noticed before, right? We're noticing, my front porch is kind of dull, or my back patio is not as enjoyable as I think it should be, right? So that would be her identifying, what her value can be by saying, okay, well, since your front porch and your patio, it's dull, it's underwhelming, it doesn't feel welcoming. We provide the crafts, we provide the furniture, all handmade and done for you to actually put your front porch on display, right? You be the house of the neighborhood that everyone envies. And so, for example, for myself, my vision for my storytelling branding business is to empower passionate entrepreneurs to share stories that will bring their vision to life, to create a high quality and effective content, and to authentically relate with the right audience. So what's the next step we need to do? The next step is to humanize and relate to your target audience. Again, this is something that a lot of us fail, we suffer in this area. But how do we humanize our brand? So the first step to humanizing your brand is to paint a vivid picture. You need to paint that vivid picture and define, the people, the brand, who it's speaking to, and create a persona if necessary. So, think about your target audience. What keeps them up at night? What lights them up? What excites your target audience? What are the belief systems, the philosophies, the lifestyles that your target audience subscribes to? Have you defined that? Have you actually, defined that audience for yourself? The idea here is to uncover attention. That's the idea here, right? So going back to my girlfriend that has the crafting business, what's the tension that her audience is dealing with right now, right? So the tension might be, I'm so underwhelmed with my front porch area. It's horrible. Nothing about it, speaks to me. It's creating so much tension and anxiety. Every time I come through my front door, I have to pass through that front porch, and it's completely underwhelming, right? That's the tension. So then we need to address the tension. That's how you connect with your target audience, is by addressing the tension. So for myself and my business, most of my clients are entrepreneurs. They have big dreams, and the dreams drive them to bring them to life. Their itches, right? What keeps them up at night? Their itches are that they struggle with refining and organizing their vision into a cohesive story. They don't know where to begin and how to tell their story and how it ties back to their return on investment, or ROI. My business's brand story, therefore, focuses on addressing the challenges of becoming an entrepreneur, the payoffs of pursuing one's dream, and how it is possible to create a story or tell a story that shapes reality despite the challenges. Right. So the next step would be address attention, right? That's what whether it's indirectly or directly, let's address that tension. So how do we address that tension? Attention that the audience is going through, and resolve it in a way that is relatable, human, and something that offers transformation. This will help your audience feel understood and connected to the brand. So let's say I sell beauty products. I sell, let's say, specialty soaps. So let's say you're a specialty soap provider. How do you relate to your brand, right? You may have consumers that, gosh, I'm tired of going to Walmart. I'm tired of going to the grocery store. I'm tired of going to these different big box brands and finding soap that doesn't help my skin. I'm breaking out, I'm peeling, I'm getting rashes, right? So we want to address that tension. If you're the provider that sells the soaps, we need to address that tension, right? Tell a story about yourself. I created this product because I was dealing with the blackouts, the blackheads. I was dealing with acne marks. I was dealing with this, and this. And I got so overwhelmed and so frustrated that I decided to do something about it, right? That's creating a story, and that's trying to get to your audience. The other thing we need to do is identify core values for your audience to connect with. What are your core values as a company? Have we thought about what your core values could be? If you have a vision, and that's the first part, right, that we talked about, is having that vision. But if you have a vision, then you can actually create your core values from that vision. But you have to have a vision first. So core values are things that you absolutely stand for as a business, right? So what core values are like your non-negotiables? Like they are what your company stands on. For example, my brand core values would be self-discovery, human connection, and life design. I cannot fulfill my vision of empowering my clients to share a powerful brand story without helping them to create an internal brand story arc, which is an authentic connection to help the people they're serving, or content that is designed to generate results in their lives. So you need to identify 3 to 5 core values that your business was built around, and then test their storytelling strength, right? Let's say a core value for you might be sophistication. Like sophistication is your core value, right? Well, let's define that even further. So for sophistication, related to what? Is it referring to your price points? Is it referring to the mindset of the consumer shopping with you? Or is it referring to the style? Is it referring to all of it? Right? So really sit down and really define what those core values, 3 to 5 core values are for your business. The core values are really meant to just humanize your brand and act as a conversation starter for your brand. It's important to note that the vision and values are communicated inconspicuously. Like, you're not going to walk up to someone who might be interested in your product and or service and start saying, my core value is such and such and such. No, they should see through your brand messaging, through your social media posts, through your website copy. They should see through all of those things what your core values are. Excuse me. And so the next thing and the last thing to do here would be create content that authentically tells your story. So once the vision, right? So the first thing being the vision, right? So once the vision, target audience, and the core values are defined, then businesses can develop the brand language, visuals, and communication styles to cohesively tell your brand story, right? So if I know who my target audience is, if I know how they're feeling, then as I'm posting on Instagram, as I'm posting on Facebook, as I'm posting on these different channels and networks, then I can effectively convey my brand's message. So again, going back to earlier, a lot of you guys engage with my posts on social media, within this Facebook group, right? And I get so many comments where you guys say, oh my gosh, Carrita, I can relate so much with your story. I've gone through similar struggles. I'm in this particular stage in my struggle right now. I've been frustrated. I've been overwhelmed. Sometimes I can't see up. The obstacles seem more strenuous than I thought it would be getting into business. And so a lot of you will say, Carrita, like, how do you do it? Like, what's the messaging here? How do I do it? So the messaging is simple, right? I've decided to, instead of running away from my story, instead of running away from some of the issues that I've dealt with in business, instead of running away from the complexities that business may bring, I've decided to embrace. That's the key word there. Embrace my story, right? My story is not pretty. It's by far not pretty at all. A lot of you guys have read my story. You know that I was in corporate America for 15 years. I was fired. I was 7 months pregnant while fired. Everything stopped that day. Benefits and all. I went from making a really high and comfortable salary to zero, like literally overnight. And so it was like, what do I do? And I went through some struggles in businesses. I went through some struggles in defining my audience. I went through some struggles and then just knowing who I am as a business. But now I've developed this really easy strategic template that I use that helps me to define what my brand is. And doing so has allowed me to attract clients, guys, that I thought I would never be able to attract. There are companies, corporations. I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana. I have companies that will engage me in California, in South Carolina, in Florida, in New York. And I'm wondering, first of all, how did you find me, right? Like, that's the question I'm always asking. And they're saying, look, I saw you on social media. I totally related to your story. And I know that you're someone that can help my brand. And it took me a while to get here because I was dealing with, a lot of times when we first get into business, we have this mentality that we're going to take as many clients as we can because we just need the money, right? And so because we need the money, we'll take any old client and then we'll end up with headaches down the line. And so not to have to deal with that, I said, you know what, there has to come to a point where I define what my brand is and who I'm targeting. So I decided, you know what? My target audience is women entrepreneurs, and I need to relate to my women entrepreneurs and their struggles. That's what I need to relate to, right? So once I defined my vision, once I defined my goals, it was really easy for me to now begin to create the content that was going to attract my target audience. And so now I don't have to deal with the headaches of trying to discount my services, the headaches of trying to push my services off on people who may not even want the services. Now I have clients that come to me, that find me, that literally to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to grow this thing out because I'm getting overwhelmed, because I've effectively been able to tell my brand's story, right? And that's what you need to do as a business owner. What's your story? If you're a business coach, right? Let's say you're a business coach. What's your brand story? What makes you different as a business coach than someone else? Right? If you sell lashes and extensions, what makes your brand different from any other lash company or any other hair extension company? What makes you different? We have to be able to define these things, because if we don't, then we end up in a whirlwind of all the other companies that do all the other things, and people just kind of mosey on by you because there's nothing that defines who you are. What makes you different? What made Uber different than any of the other transportation companies out there? Right? Once they were able to define their brand story, they were able to say, listen, how can we be different? We're going to be different because we're going to meet the needs of our audience. They saw a need. In the transportation industry, technology was like zip zero. There was no technology there. So Uber took a different approach and said, we're going to introduce technology into the picture. And we're going to meet the needs of our clients by introducing that technology, making it easy for them to engage with us. How easy are you making it for your clients to engage with you? What systems and processes have you put in place that make it easy for your clients to engage with you? For a lot of us, we're winging it. We're just going out here, we're posting every day. We are, trying to get through a friend of a friend. We're doing everything that we think is right, but we're not taking care of the foundation areas, right? We never defined our mission. We never defined our vision. We never defined our target audience. We never defined any of that. We just got on Canva. We got on PicMonkey. We got on these different platforms and just started creating content. That's it. We just started creating content and we never took the time to really define our audience. And if you want to be able to grow your business, that is what you're going to have to do. Your business is not going to grow by posting every day. Your business is not going to grow by having a beautiful website. Your business is not going to grow by, hosting events, 2 or 3 times a month. Those are all tools that you can effectively use to enhance the growth of your company. But the growth of your company is going to come from being able to effectively tell your story. That's what makes you different, because all of us have a unique story. All of us bring something different to the table. We're so busy trying to hide behind the brand. And if you don't get anything out this message today, excuse me, if you don't get anything out this message today, stop hiding behind your brand. It's time for people to see you. People want to work with people. Stop hiding behind your brand. Tell your story. Use this platform. Start today. Use this platform to begin telling your story. Relate to people. Try to become friends with people. Build relationships with your audience. Because when you build the relationships with your audience, they will refer you out to everybody else within their communities. But you have to build a relationship first. You can't shoot from the hip, and you can't think that, oh, I'm going to become friends with them on Facebook, and then I'm going to send them a request to join my page so I can sell them a product or service. That is the most ingenuous thing that you can do as a business owner. Take the time to build the relationships, cultivate those relationships, tell your story, have people fall in love with you as a person. And then it makes it easy to sell your product and easy to sell your service because they are going to become your brand ambassadors, right? Make your clients become your brand ambassadors. So, again, if you don't get anything out this message today, be authentic, be genuine, define your core values, your target audience, define your message for your brand. And if you need additional help with doing so, I do have a strategic template that I can send you guys by email. I actually have a Facebook group that we just actually launched today. It's actually called Womenpreneurs, so a made up word, right? So Womenpreneurs, the new bosses. And that's a Facebook group that you can join. And in that Facebook group, we share resources, we share ideas, we can advertise, we can do so many different things within that group. And then we have an online directory that's going to be launching at the end of this week for women entrepreneurs all over the globe. Literally, it's not defined to one particular area. You will literally be able to go to the directory, type in an address, type in the type of service that you're looking for, whether it be a hair salon, whether it be a business coach, whether it be a graphic designer. Type in a zip code and it will launch those businesses for that area. It will bring it up. You can also feature listings on there as well. But again, guys, if you want that strategic template, go online, go to my website, go to caritacloud.com, and I'll write that in the comments as well so that you guys can download this template. I'll send it to you. Just join the mailing list. You can go to caritacloud.com. I just put that in the comments. You can also join the group. So, and I'm going to put that in the comments as well. Okay, great. This is what it's called, Womenpreneurs, the New Bosses. But you can go there, you can join, and I'm telling you guys, it's going to have a wealth of information, and it's women from all industries, all sectors, at all levels. We are launching our LinkedIn group. We have our Facebook group. We have our IG page, and then we also will have our online directory that you can join. We will be promoting for the month of August that you can actually list your business on the directory for free at no cost to you, so that people can learn about your brand. Ladies, please go out there. Please promote your businesses. Tell your brand story. Let us get to know you, right? Like, we want to know you. Let us get to know you. Let us decide if we can relate to you. And if we can, we will engage with you. So don't forget that today. Like I said, I dropped it in the comments, guys. Join our group as well. We look forward to seeing you there. I've had a wonderful time with you all. If anybody has any questions or comments, please drop them now. I have about 2 to 3 minutes for questions. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and drop those questions now, and I can answer questions for you related to this topic. If not, I will save this video. I will have it available for view later, so that you can always view it and get this information. If there are no questions, I thank you guys for joining in with me today, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you guys.